What gives you a sense of purpose? My ultimate goal is to be an example for Christ.
To hear a man with a microphone speak, and broken people come to try to hear truth.
Yeah.
That is wealth.
There's clearly something wrong with the generation. How do you look at someone getting gunned down in front of his wife and kids and celebrate that? Are the highest rates of depression, highest rates of anxiety.
What's crazy too, bro? We talk about how terrible everything is. There's an answer.
Yeah.
Bro, there's literally something that can help everybody.
Should get into families, they should get married, they should have children, they should follow Christ, because all of those things give you a sense of purpose. I also wonder why...
If they were sitting here and I said, man, you okay, bro? I guarantee you, probably about 99% of them would either look at you like, no, I'm not, or they would just start crying.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to address is like, why are we getting in front of a camera? Why are we talking to a whole bunch of people? Well, not a whole bunch of people right now. It's like 0 people that will eventually turn into one person.
I mean, even if it's just one, bro.
Even if it's just one. It's like, kind of like what Jackson and I were talking about earlier is, there are a lot of people that share our values. There are a lot of people that believe what we believe, and they feel completely alone. Right? Like, I felt completely alone. Jackson, I'm sure you felt completely alone.
Yep.
But I feel like there's a lot of people in the generation that are totally different than sort of like the normal way you're supposed to behave in Gen Z. So like so many people that are totally different than what culture says. How do I say this? Like, I feel like there are so many people that are totally different than you're supposed to be according to the culture of this generation. And a lot of those people feel like they're singled out. Yeah. And that's why I feel like it's important to be able to have conversations where, you know, someone can watch this and be like, wow, I felt like I was the only one who thought this. You know, I felt like I was the only one my age and this stage of life that believes in these types of things.
And that's really why we're making it, because, I mean, if this helps, like, really what we're going to be discussing, we're just going to pretty much talk about what we feel. It's kind of be pretty unhinged, I guess, what some people would say, but it's really just, we're just going to be thinking how we feel. Especially all the states in the world that just happened right now, we're going to be, it's not just going to be about, like, political stuff, probably more, like, business, like, faith, probably mainly just faith, but all that, I feel like, is tied into it, so it's really kind of just us having a conversation that we normally do in our kitchen.
Yeah, no, literally.
We're just deciding to record it now because we think that maybe somebody could find a lot of value.
Yeah, because I feel like I said earlier, a lot of people feel lonely out there. And I think this whole generation, it's like it's cooked. Like, people, the state that our society has gotten into is insane. Even when I was a kid, and I know how, like, you hear a lot of old people like, oh, this wasn't the same country that I grew up in. I can even say the same thing myself, and I'm 20 years old. Like, this wasn't even the same country I grew up in, and I'm 20 years old. I've only been on this earth 20 years, and I can say that I don't even recognize the world I live in from when I was a kid. Like, for instance, what just happened as of the time that we're filming this podcast, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was shot dead in front of thousands of people, millions, because there were cameras on him, including his wife and 2 kids. And not only was that jarring, but not the whole world, but a lot of people were celebrating that happening.
And we can touch on this. He died doing what he had always done from the very beginning of his message, which, if you're on both ends of anything, you should be able to agree with this. The man died with a microphone in his hand. You would have never seen him with anything but a microphone in his hand, bro. Mm. And that's how they got him.
Didn't have a gun, in his hand. Didn't have a knife, didn't have any kind of weapon. All he had was a microphone.
But the truth that he was speaking was too much of a weapon to them.
Yeah, it's true.
That was his weapon. And it had more impact than any gun that you could hold in your arms.
It had more of an impact than the bullet that killed him. Because what we're seeing right now is a whole bunch of people all over the world. Yes, there are obviously a lot of soulless individuals that are celebrating it, but there are also millions of people that are coming to Christ when they otherwise wouldn't have. People that are honoring his memory. People that are sharing his message. There have been so many like mini Charlie Kirks that have popped up over that period of time, just in the last 5 days since the assassination. So, at the end of the day, it's like you can kill the man, but you can't kill the idea.
Yeah,
and
it's like you kill one guy like that, you might as well have just created 20,000.
Exactly.
Like, what's that one creature that you like break in half and it splits into two?
Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cut off one head and then it grows back 2 more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a huge level.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot more than 2.
A lot more than 2. Like, you probably just made... I say 20,000, but bro, it's probably more.
Yeah.
It's probably more.
And that's the thing, it's like, I really respect what he stood for, not just necessarily on, like, his opinions. I agree with probably most of his opinions. There are also some of his opinions that I don't agree with. But regardless of what I agree versus disagree with, I respect what he stood for, which was having respectful dialogue with people that have opposing views. And I think that's insane that somebody would try to take that person out. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody that has views that are very different from mine was doing the exact same thing he was doing, and they died the exact same way, I would still be heartbroken over that. Like, that is barbaric, and that should not happen in a civilized nation. And I think the craziest thing, like, not just the fact that he died, I think the even crazier part is the fact that so many people seem like this was totally okay and actually are celebrating the fact that it happened because he had political opinions that, by the way, pretty much upwards of 100 million people in this country have. So it wasn't just the fact that there was one person who killed one other person. It was the fact that in the wake of that event, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people basically said that under the right circumstances they would kill, or they would be okay with it if millions of other people were to be killed in that situation. Yeah. And I think that's probably the craziest part, is that it revealed that there really is a darkness in this world. There really is, like I said, it sounds unhinged to say it, but there really is a demonic force that's causing people to think like this. Like, I don't know, did you ever see the video of that girl who was filming her classmates passing the video around of the shooting, and they were all laughing at it, saying like, "Oh, they got him, let's go," and they were all like pumping their fists in the air and cheering. Like, what state does society have to get into where you could look at a man who simply disagreed with you and shared his opinions, and you literally watch a video right in front of your face, a very, very brutal video that most of us have seen, I've seen it, you've seen it, and literally cheer watching a man get gunned down in front of his wife and 2 little children. And
that's like the state of, like, unfortunately, like, what we're seeing in a lot of people, and it's really enlightened it too, like, even if somebody's watching this, if you don't agree with it, that's fine. That's fine. We love to talk about it.
Exactly. And and I think that's what's being lost, is like people don't talk about it, right? And that's why, even though I don't agree with everything he said, like I said, some things he said I agree with, some things I disagree with, I respect what he stood for, which was having respectful disagreements. And if I had come to him with anything that I disagreed with him on, he would have been more than willing to have a conversation with me if I had ever gotten the chance to meet him. And I wish I did get that chance, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy that, you know, it feels like, even though none of us knew him personally and most people haven't met him, it almost feels like someone you know personally that just died this way.
Yeah, and you can really tie to it, like, you know, if you have a father, and everybody that's been born really does, whether if you have a good relationship or at all with him, you've known somebody that has a good father, and when you see, you know, videos of like his little girl running up to him,
dude,
there's like a sick being in somebody that can honestly still see that. and be like, yeah, it's good that he's dead.
Yeah.
How can you be in that state of mind?
And then to take it a step further, like I don't know if you saw the picture of that college student that spray painted "Kill all Charlie Kirks" on a brick structure in front of a college campus. Forget what college it was, but it's like advocating for violence against literally upwards of 100 million people in your country. I really think that it's proof that there is a demonic presence in the world. And the world is getting very, very dark. And again, that's why I think it's more important now than ever. Like, there are many times where I've wanted to get in front of a camera. There are times that we've talked about things that we're passionate about all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and not just us, with a lot of our friends, we've wanted to talk about this. We've wanted to share the message of Christ and how badly the world needs him.
And what's crazy too, bro, we talk about how terrible everything is. There's an answer.
Yeah.
Bro, there's literally something that can help everybody.
And that's the thing, and even the people that do have it, they feel alone, and that's again why I feel like now more than ever it's important to put yourself out there. Because a lot of people feel alone. A lot of people feel like, wow, I'm the only person that has these values. I'm the only person that has a relationship with Christ that I know of. And that was, yeah, I feel like it's kind of just like a wake-up call for a lot of people, like seeing what happened, not just the bad side. Obviously we know the bad side of what happened. You probably seen the everybody cheering that he's dead and all those people, but on the other side there were people that were holding massive worship ceremonies. Like, I believe, again, I could be wrong about this, I don't know if this just happened this week, but I believe there was a worship event happening in a stadium in Anaheim, California, where they packed out a stadium with a 45,000 person capacity, and they packed it out an hour and a half before the event.
In California.
In California.
In California, bro.
Like, I think it's just one of those things where it's rather than if this person, whoever did this, if this person's intent was to kill the idea and was to squash the movement, they completely failed.
They actually they did the complete opposite.
Exactly.
Because now, like, bro, like you were saying, like you were showing me earlier, I think his Instagram account was at what, 2.4.
Something like 2.4, 2.6 million followers, and now it's at 11.8.
And Turning Point USA was at 900.
9,000.
No, sorry, 9,000 campuses across America. Is now at 18,000.
Yeah.
This has only been a few days.
Yeah.
That's double the amount of, and that's going to be double the amount of people that get his message. And I think that we can really tie it off into, like, his message, oh, it's wrong. There's a lot of truth in what he was saying.
There was a lot.
And this
of
is
truth
why
in
they
it.
took his voice. But they didn't. That's what's funny about it. They did, but they totally didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think that, like, overall, I think it's crazy that a lot of the stuff he was saying was unpopular. Again, I don't agree with everything he said. I agree with a lot of the things he said. But he was pushing for values, trying to instill values in the younger generation that I genuinely think our generation desperately needs. Right?
Yeah.
Like, people over the past, 50 or so years have completely abandoned the concept of God. They've completely abandoned faith. They've plunged straight into secularism. Everybody believes that we just evolved from like pond slime, as my dad said, from goo to you by way of the zoo.
Yeah.
And it's like people have completely devalued human life. Why do we have about 1 million abortions a year? It's because people believe that human life is not valuable unless it's useful to them. I mean, again, it's like, how do you look at someone getting gunned down in front of his wife and kids and celebrate that? How do you not see the value in that human life? I mean, I would value a person's life even if I disagreed with them. It's because society has been so brainwashed to the point where we believe that human life has no inherent value.
Yeah.
And it's only valuable based on how useful it is to the people around them.
And I want to make this very, very clear. Like, people take this message that we were portraying to be, we're political.
It really
This
is.
has nothing to do with political.
It is.
They'll wrap it up in like all the politics that he's far right. None of it matters.
Mm-hmm.
None of it.
Right.
That's literally like that holds no weight, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What holds weight is people celebrating somebody else's public execution. That's what holds weight.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And I think it's not just a political issue, but just in general, I think that our generation has been kind of numb to the point where people are just, I mean, like I said, they're numb. People are taught to believe that they are not inherently valuable. I mean, like, there's clearly something wrong with the generation. Why do we have by far the highest rates of depression, highest rates of anxiety, highest suicide rates? And why are things like mass shootings, despite the fact that we've had guns in our country for as long as we've been around, why is it that all of a sudden in the past 30 years we've had a spike in people that are snapping and flying off the rails and shooting up schools? Like, what is going on?
People need God, man.
Exactly. People have like anxiety rates going through the roof, depression rates going through the roof, suicide rates going through the roof, homicide, pretty much every single type of crime going up. Like, people are clearly not okay. And I think that there's this elephant in the room that a lot of people aren't addressing, which is that people feel hopeless probably because of what they're being fed in the school system and in the media and on social media, where you were not divinely created. You were not created in the image of God. God doesn't exist. You evolved from non-living matter. You are basically effectively here by accident in a race of people that are here by accident on a rock floating in space, and nothing really matters in life. You were never given a God-given purpose because there is no God that could have given you that God-given purpose. And you're basically just here to suffer for 70, 80 years if you make it that long, and then you die, and that's it, and nothing happens after that. And eventually the human race will go completely extinct when the sun, explodes or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
it's totally backwards.
And I know a lot of people don't think about that consciously on a daily basis, but like, it really does affect people, not to mention the spiritual reality of how people have been separated from Christ.
Yeah.
And how that is, I think that's affecting people more than they realize because they don't consciously think about it. As they said in that movie, The Usual Suspects, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really think about it consciously. Everybody just thinks that, like, if we can't observe it under a microscope, it's not real. But there genuinely is a spiritual reality that people aren't noticing. But I think after the assassination, everyone could tell that there's been something off. Especially the fact that there's a lot of people that are celebrating it, and there's also a lot of people that are being pulled to God. There's been this, I think people have become more aware of this spiritual reality, but this has been a crisis for decades, where we've strayed away so much as a society from God, where people just have this nihilistic thinking that, like, nothing really matters, and they have basically no purpose. And
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and people have completely strayed away from marriages and families.
When you feel like a no purpose, and if you're watching this episode, like, seriously, like, we do not sit up here as people that have been perfect our whole lives.
Oh no,
I am not perfect today. I won't be perfect tomorrow. I will never be perfect. We both won't. But we know something that is very truthful, and that is the center of our lives, and why we can actually find happiness in this world that is celebrating somebody dying. And that's through Christ, man. And we were talking about holding weight. How we were also just talking about how people are walking in this world of not really being.
Yeah.
And how they don't really have that relationship. That is holding weight. Like, bro, you can walk around your whole life like that, bro, and you're holding so much stuff on your shoulders that you'll never be able to take off.
Yeah.
You'll always be looking for a purpose.
Yeah,
and you won't. Unfortunately, you can't find one.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like I was alluding to earlier. That lack of purpose is hitting everybody all around. With faith, with things like marriages and families, people, like, the marriage rates are declining. People are having less children. Like, if you're living life where you don't believe in God, and you're also living in a very harsh economic reality where it's very, very difficult to make a living. And
Yeah.
you're like growing up in a generation where you're looking ahead and it's like you're going to have to work 60 hours a week to make ends meet as a single guy or a single woman and then never get married, probably never have kids, and then never believe in God. What gives you a sense of purpose? It's very, and then of course, you just have to live your truth and find it for yourself, and you have to find yourself. And I don't believe in that for a second. I believe you have to build yourself, right? And you have to build yourself around a purpose. Like what my ultimate goal is to be an example for Christ. I believe, Jackson, that's yours as well. And I want to be able to have a family. I want to be able to have a network of friends. I want to be able to touch as many lives as humanly possible. And yeah, to be honest, the recent events, especially with what happened to Charlie Kirk, was kind of a wake-up call that there's no better time to start, because the world is becoming a darker and darker place.
No, but like I were just saying about really spreading a message, and that's what we want to do, man. Like that's to really help people out. Look at somebody like Charlie. As he sat there right before what happened to him did, for all those people to come out to hear a man with a microphone speak, and broken people come to try to hear truth,
Yeah.
that is wealth.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's like one of the biggest blessings.
Yeah.
He's away from us now. He's not here in this physical world now. But that's the biggest blessing. Like that is really hard to achieve, man. That to have two beautiful daughters.
He has a son, I believe, a son and a daughter.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought he had two daughters. Never mind. I apologize. But
Two children.
a lovely wife, a good family, and to say that you're coming to a college campus and that many people show up to hear what you have to say. Broken people.
Because it's so impactful.
Broken people that really want to find a little bit of truth in a world that's just full of lies. There is really, if you look at it like on that level, there's really might not be anything more of a blessing than that.
I think
As an individual.
I think that Charlie Kirk died a richer man and a happier man at 31. I think Charlie Kirk died a richer man at 31 than most people will ever be at 80, regardless of how materially wealthy they were.
Material wealth. And on this podcast, we'll get into that. Like
Yeah.
that's a big part of what we're trying to do with
And
our
I believe it
agency.
is. I believe it is important. For
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. But no amount of material wealth is more wealthy than a man that can literally just show up to a college campus and have thousands of people, and that is spreading a message that the enemy doesn't want them to hear so much that they decided to shoot him publicly.
Yeah.
And they didn't even cover it up that good. They didn't even care to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think, like I said, I think that he lived a more fulfilling life in his 31 years than most people will live in 80.
Literally.
I think,
Literally.
yeah, I don't, it's crazy. Like
Literally.
that is ultimately, I think what he stood for about that people should get into families, they should get married, they should have children, they should follow Christ, because all of those things give you a sense of purpose.
This is
Obviously,
beautiful stuff.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, with God at the center, that would literally solve the issue of purpose. Everyone, I forget who said this quote, but everybody has a God-shaped hole in their heart, right? And people look for everything they possibly can to fill that hole. They'll look for drugs. They'll look for relationships or sex. They'll look for pornography. They'll look for social media. They'll look for every cheap dopamine hit they could possibly find.
We can go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That'll cost, okay, this podcast is going to have to be 4.5 hours to get one episode of 18 done about the rabbit hole of social media, how it brain rots you.
Yeah, literally. But and that's all. That's how we got plenty of episodes to do. But,
Yeah, well, we could just make 20 episodes just on that.
yeah, but I really think that, like, between all of those things put together, between like depression, the anxiety rates, the suicide rates, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that people are not following Christ, they're not following God, they have no faith, they believe that they are purposeless accidents, they're just a random combination of matter and energy, and they have no inherent value, and they're walking around with, like I said, with a God-shaped hole in their heart, and people are just indulging in things like porn, social media, junk food, literally anything they can, drugs, sex, even relationships that seem healthy, but they're just using it to fill a void. There's so many things people do to try to fill that void, and I think that Christ is really the answer to all of it.
Yeah.
And I just imagine a future, I don't know if it's possible, but I imagine a future where you have a whole generation of people that are following Christ, that have achieved fulfillment. Obviously nobody's perfect, but people that are walking with the Lord, and people that are walking in faith, and they are secure in themselves. They no longer feel the need to fill that hole, because they have everything they need, regardless of what they have externally. And then those people work hard, they build successful businesses, successful careers, especially entrepreneurs. I think that entrepreneurs absolutely change the world, and the world needs more of them.
Especially when you find the ones that put their businesses and they put Christ in the middle of it.
Oh yeah,
man, that's something that I don't think get talked about enough. Those guys that are
for sure.
Gonna be us, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be us for sure.
Literally.
And then those people that own homes, that get married, that raise children to have those values, raise a strong generation, and support their communities, and then spread that message and spread their resources to people that are in need. I think that's pretty much the best society you could possibly have.
Yeah.
And I think that we've strayed so far away from valuing those things, and then we wonder why our generation is so messed up.
Yeah, we wonder why, like, the same people that are celebrating what happened the other day
also wonder why...
If they were sitting here with us right now, and we honestly looked at them right into the eyes, man. Like, I'm looking at you right now, and I said, man, you okay, bro?
They wouldn't.
I guarantee you that probably about 99% of them would either look at you like, no, I'm not, or they would just start crying.
Yeah. Yeah.